Jamal Edwards was just a normal boy with the world at his feet. At the age of 15, he was given a camera for Christmas, and this is essentially where the landscape of British music began to change. Jamal started recording himself and his friends on their estate, just rapping and MCing before uploading the footage to YouTube. Now this would have been in 2006, so YouTube itself was only about a year old at this point, and it would have been impossible to predict just how massive this platform would become. But ultimately SBTV was born, and over the coming years it became one of the most sought after platforms for some of the most talented up and coming artists, as well as attracting a lot of attention from artists already at the top of their game. Despite the popularity of platforms like Channel U at the time, there was no mainstream recognition of what was largely an underground music scene. The fact that there were no UK rappers in the charts just shows how different things were back then. Nowadays, UK rap is taken pretty much as seriously as it ever has been, with the charts dominated by the likes of Dave, Nines, J Hus, Stormzy. You've got the likes of Crackton Conan, Tion Wayne, Young Stefflon. Like, there's just so much talent getting recognised right now. And make no mistake, the foundation set out by Jamal played a major role in shaping what the landscape looks like today. SBTV was the first of a new breed, and it signalled a change in the way young people consumed music. Paving the way for later platforms like Link Up TV and GRM Daily, Jamal's vision was to have talent connecting directly with an audience. No TV music channels, no labels, just the artist and the listener. Back in the day, the format was simple. Yeah, the warm-up sessions were sick, but everybody wanted an F64. 64 bars where you go all in and show the world what you're all about. Being such a popular platform meant that everyone wanted a chance to get on it. And because the standard was so high, you knew you had to bring your best every single time. As a result, the channel became a cultural hub and was responsible for some iconic moments. It also propelled artists and became the foundations for the careers that they would go on to have. Let's not forget the recognition that Ed Sheeran got from SBTV, and just look at where he is today. Now, I went back and I listened to some of the early F64s, and there's just so much nostalgia in there. From the likes of Wretch, Chip, Akala, JME, Devlin, there's so much talent on show. Now obviously some of the artists that were featured on the channel had established careers prior to being on SBTV, but the fact that Jamal had the support and the co-sign of someone like a JME, for example, shows that what was in his heart was pure. Everyone could see that Jamal was the guy that was going to almost revive the culture and help take it to new heights. From the outside, it seems that Jamal was just full of love. And this meant that his only mission was to see people shine. So he took that entrepreneurial spirit, that drive for success and recognition, and he placed it in the hearts of other people, giving them opportunities where otherwise they were being ignored. And this goes beyond music. He was opening up youth centres in London, and these were aimed at focusing on individual young people, finding out what their ambitions were, what they wanted to achieve in their lives, and he would help facilitate that, getting them in touch with the right people and providing support for them. If you believe that people are here for a purpose, then his was simply to help and inspire others. Mental health was also a topic that was close to Jamal's heart and something that he was a great advocate of. His youth centres were also there to provide a safe space where young people could talk, to open up about their problems and find the right guidance. It was obvious how selfless he was, but so many of the tributes paid to him just emphasised that. His only goal was for you to reach your potential, and he would do what he could to make that happen. And he wouldn't expect anything in return either, just as long as you go out there and show the world exactly what you're capable of. Basically, if you were willing to invest in yourself, then Jamal would invest in you. Obviously, Jamal started off behind the camera, but he ended up becoming one of the most recognisable faces, not only in the culture, but also in the mainstream, thanks to his landmark advert with Google, which put him firmly in the living rooms of everyone up and down the country. But despite having a massive boost in recognition, Jamal kept true to himself. He never strayed from what it was that he excelled at, connecting people, building these great relationships, that would ultimately have a massive influence on the UK music industry. In an early interview which was published on SBTV, Jamal is asked about his detractors or competitors that might want to see him fail. And his response is, "I'm chasing my dream, not the competition." Now, to be able to have that clarity and presence of mind at such a young age, that's exactly how he managed to reach the heights he did and ultimately touch so many lives. One of Jamal's old tweets has been floating around Twitter recently, and it says, "We all die. The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will." And that's something that he really lived by, as you can see by all of the tributes that were paid to him. There's this from Adam Deacon. "Today I was on set when I found out the tragic news that my good friend Jamal Edwards had passed away, and I'm honestly heartbroken. Jamal was one of the nicest, most down-to-earth and humble men I've ever met in this industry. He always gave me time even when no one else would. He was an inspiration, and what he achieved in his life was truly remarkable. Thinking of his friends and family at this devastating time." And this from JK. "I think I can speak for us all as artists and supporters of the UK grime rap scene when I say I owe this man so much. He helped me sometimes without even speaking of it." And this was another thing that really stood out for me. Most of what Jamal did for people, he would never talk about, and we wouldn't know about it if it weren't for those people crediting him. He was just the most humble, down-to-earth, good-hearted guy. And the most heartwarming tribute for me was the candlelit vigil that was held outside Jamal's mural in Acton, which was originally there in recognition of what an amazing contribution he'd made to his local community. Now, doing some research to prep for this video, it's hard to believe that Jamal just isn't with us anymore. He gave so much to so many, and there's no doubt that he achieved his goal, because the legacy of Jamal Edwards will undoubtedly live on forever.